Greetings folks, and I hope it's a nice night for a walk wherever you are in collecting land. And welcome back to the channel for another 1/4 scale figure unboxing and review. But no ordinary action figure, no, we are travelling back in time. 13 years to 2012 and only Hot Toys' second ever quarter scale action figure release. Yes, it's the T-800 from James Cameron's 1984 classic, The Terminator, and the end of a hunt for Mr. Go figure, which seems to have lasted a lifetime bagging this one. But usual format folks, we will start with the box, then it'll be the accessories, then we'll take a look at the figure, then it'll be out with the usual showcase at the end. But before we dive into action figure history, I'd like to send the usual shout out to everyone who supported the channel. And please drop a like and hype on this video as it helps other people find Go Figure. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you don't miss any of the action figure news, reviews, previews, tours, showcases, and all that other stuff that we've got coming up. And I'd also like to send a special shout out to Dave, the original owner of this piece, for parting with it. Dave's a fellow collector and a talented custom figure maker as well to boot, and if you're wanting to check out his other goodies, there'll be a link to his eBay page in the description below. And a massive thank you to Dave for allowing me to become the custodian of this rather marvellous piece. So, the box, and as you can tell, it is absolutely huge. Mr. Go Figure is about 30 feet away from the table at this point. But I will attempt to stop it from spinning without knocking the camera over here, and that's no easy feat. Right, there we go. Managed to reach in there. Yeah, massive box, as you'd come to expect with a quarter scale figure. Yeah, I think the box is holding up really, really well. Obviously, as I mentioned at the top there, not a brand new figure to me. I am the second owner of this, but I think, yeah, the box, I think, looks fantastic. You've got this sort of heavy-duty card box with a slip cover design. On the front, you've got this super reflective sort of silver look. There's this plastic section in the middle that says quarter scale. Hot Toys at the bottom there, QSO2, and in the center you've got this profile of the Terminator skull itself, of the endoskeleton, done in this super high gloss silver with the red eye there. It's foam backed and then attached to the front of the box, which gives it that slight depth, gives it that almost that 3D look, and I think it looks great. I think it stood the test of time very, very well, this box. And I like the silver themes that Hot Toys used in their original run of Terminator pieces. It says the Terminator endoskeleton in the top there, and if the light's catching that, there is this sort of circuit board style pattern underneath the silver itself. On the side you've got this band, and then the interior box underneath. It says the Terminator endoskeleton, QSO2 again. Pretty much the same thing around this side as well. It says Terminator on the top. You have to take my word for that. This box is enormous, and yeah, getting that to tilt at this point in time would be damn near impossible. On the back you have all the usual credits and warnings there, and the legend that is J.C. Hong there, the head art director and the head painter as well. And you've got all the warnings and credits at the bottom there. Don't piss this figure off, or it may be back for a 2.0 version. But that's the outer box, so let's get this thing opened up and have a look at the inner box. Okay, so inner box removed, and you're just greeted with this plain black cardboard box, basically. Foam inlay card on the front here. Once you remove that, and I'm going to be super careful here because I don't want the endoskeleton falling out. Yeah, you're greeted with the endoskeleton in this foam inlay, and underneath that will be all the accessories and the stand and so on. So yeah, that's your box. So without further ado, let's get the endoskeleton out, let's get all the accessories out, dive down onto the table and have a look at everything that he comes with. Okay folks, so accessories out, what do you get? Well, not a vast amount. I think back in 2012, Hot Toys didn't go quite as slap happy with the accessories in their figures, but what do you get? Let's have a quick run through. We'll get the mundane stuff out of the way. You get a set of instructions, as always with Hot Toys figures. Worth reading through these, particularly with a figure like this. I will be going through these with a fine-tooth comb in between takes. So yeah, you get a set of instructions, put those to one side. What else? You get the laser rifle. I want to call it a pulse rifle, but it's not. Is it a phased plasma rifle in the 40 watt range? It's a plasma rifle, but let's call it that. Hollow plastic, this, all one piece of sculpted plastic. And I think it's standing the test of time pretty well. The screen accuracy's there, the proportions are right. You've got several different paint applications going on here to give it that metallic look. You've got greys, you've got some sort of brassy copper type look as well in the paint applications, and some silver dry brushing as well to pick out the details. Not much weight to it, which is probably good considering the heft of this piece if it was solid plastic. Don't think there's a removable magazine or anything like that, no. It's relatively basic in the way it's done. There are no moving parts or features or anything like that, but I think it's still very, very good today considering its age, and I think the screen accuracy is most certainly on point. So yeah, that is the rifle, and pretty well done it is too. So, and probably worth mentioning at this point as well, I think, and correct me in the comments section if I'm getting this wrong, I think there was a deluxe version of this figure, and I think the deluxe version came with 2 of these. I could be wrong though, let me know if I am. But yeah, I think it stood the test of time very, very well, has that plasma rifle. So, rifle to one side, you also get some spare tubes. These are for the shoulder areas, I believe, the shoulder and chest areas in case any are damaged. Great to see these haven't been opened, which tells me that it's still holding up very, very well. But yeah, some replacements if needed. You also get this little plastic doohickey here. This is to actually help him grip that the rifle that we just looked at. Now, you don't need to have this attached. I believe it actually fits to the to one of the pistons on the arm and then into the rifle itself. I think it's actually there. Yeah, there's a little hole there where it slots in place. You don't actually need to use it, but just give it some extra support if you need it. So yeah, good inclusion. And last but not least, you get the stand. Let's take a look at this base. Now, not a huge base as you may be expecting something enormous. This is pretty much almost scaled up from 6 to quarter scale here with Hot Toys regular bases, but I think it looks very, very good indeed. You've got sculpted plastic top there, and then just a standard hollow plastic base here. We'll start on the bottom. No feet on here. Would have liked to have seen some felt padded feet on here to stop it from slipping and sliding around in the display, but it is what it is. You've got the credits on there as well. On the front, great to see you have a metal nameplate. I just prefer metal nameplates. They give it that sort of premium feel, that high-end feel, and it's nice to see them etched into there, laser etched in. You've got the Terminator Endoskeleton, and sat on top of the base itself, you've got this semi-diorama thing going on, and I really like this. I think it's aged very well. You've got this sort of cracked concrete effect going on with what looks like fire, lava, whatever it might be, coming through the cracks itself there. Then you've got pieces of bone scattered around, and then the skulls as well. And at the back here, you've got a pile of skulls going on, one missing the top of its head, half a skull there. Yeah, it just looks really, really effective. Sort of replicating that sequence at the beginning of the original Terminator, where he's walking along crunching skulls and bones. But yeah, I mean, you could say probably by today's standards, maybe the sculpt is a little on the soft side, and the paint applications might be improved if we saw this ever released in the 2.0 version. But I think it's holding up very, very well indeed. I like it a lot. It's not overly grandiose. It's not going to take up too much space in the collection there, so displaying won't be an issue. And overall, I think it captures the look and the feel of the first movie really, really well. So yeah, that is the base, and very impressed I am with it too. You also get an oversized crotch grabber, obviously quarter scale here. That simply slots in the back there, and you have the usual crotch cup at the top there to support the figure. So yeah, that's the base. So without further ado, let's bring out the big guy himself. Let's get that endoskeleton out. Let's get him onto this stand, onto the turntable, and have a close-up look at him. Okay folks, so T-800 Endoskeleton out of box, onto stand and turntable, and first impressions. I've got to say, for a 12-year-old piece, I am blown away. I think, the proportions absolutely on point. The screen accuracy is most certainly there in spades. The detailing, wow, the detailing for a 12-year-old piece is truly magnificent. Probably the one thing I did notice straight out of the box, and this was inevitable, with die-cast pieces like this, and 99.9% of this piece is die-cast, it's been chromed, and chrome deteriorates over time. It does. Doesn't matter how well you look after it, it will start to discolor. It will lose that sheen. And with Mr. Go Figure being a United Kingdom Sheffield lad, he has access to all kinds of chroming services, and I'll be getting this chap re-chromed at the earliest possible opportunity, and we'll stick a video up of that once that job's been done. But that to one side, I think this is a stunning piece, and a thumbs up to Dave for keeping this in such good condition. But let's do as we always do, let's get up close and personal with the T-800. Normally at this point I would lift him off the stand and bring him into camera, but that's just not going to happen with this piece. Too delicate, too big, so we'll go handheld. Okay, so let's get uncomfortably close to the T-800 Endoskeleton from Terminator, courtesy of Hot Toys. We'll start at the bottom as we always do and work our way up. No need to talk about that base, we've already discussed that, cracking base there, but a lot to talk about these feet. Now if I can get this guy to spin round a little bit, it's the detail here, as I mentioned before, that is just absolutely next level, and it's still blowing my mind that this has got 12 years on it, but yeah, each of these toes here is articulated. If I can get one to move there, you'll see this. So yeah, each of these toes individually moves. As you can see here, it's sort of sat flush to the base, and the toes have lifted up around that piece of bone, that indentation there. Really phenomenal. You can see the individual pistons in there. The chrome, as I mentioned, needs a little bit of work, but overall the impact is still there with this sort of super shiny metal look. As I say, 90% here, I think we're looking at a die cast. There are some plastic parts in here, and there are some delicate parts as well. So it does. You do have to err on the side of caution when you're working with this piece. But yeah, you've got those ball heel joints there at the back, and I think they move as well, and they move on this piston section here, which moves up and down ever so slightly, so you can get that arched look, which you see when he's dragging his leg in the original movie. If you're wanting to go for that look, because he can look a bit flat-footed if the feet are straight down. But overall, I think the the construction here for a 12-year-old piece is mind-blowing. It really is. That they went to such sort of level of detail on this is just great to see, and those individual pistons are picked out on those feet as well, and they do move, as I mentioned. These pistons are fully functional at the back here, and those feet will move up and down. Going up the legs a little bit here now, there is some weathering on the lower legs here. This isn't actually where the chrome has deteriorated. It is meant to look, obviously because it's the naked endoskeleton plodding along through the post-apocalyptic wasteland. It's got some weathering on here, and as you can see there are some darker sections on these metal shin pads almost. I'll call them shin pads, shin bones, shin plates, we'll call them that. And it is some sort of what looks like airbrushing, some black airbrushing that then fades up into the rest of the chrome itself. And there's a slight discoloration on the back there as well. There's some more browns on the back there that lead up towards that super shiny knee joint. Now, I am not going to attempt to demonstrate articulation with one hand on this piece. However, take my word for it, there's a joint here at the knee, obviously, as well as the ankle, and you get a decent range of motion out of that. I would say if you are trying to pick this piece up and you do manage to get it in your collection, first thing I did notice is be very careful when you're articulating this piece, because obviously everything is attached to rods and piston mechanism there. Yeah, you don't want to overextend anything. You don't want to risk any of these detaching themselves, because that could be problematic. But yeah, around the back here, it's retained that chrome look really well, super shiny. And as you can see here, individual pistons which will move, and these are all metallic, and they're all super secure as well, the metal ones anyway. Moving up to the waist section now. At the waist section, you've got I think there's a ball joint in the lower chest here, area here. Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. The spine really isn't that articulated. As you see, you've got some movement in the chest area, forwards and backwards, and then those pistons rise and fall that are attached to the hips there. That works really well. The level of detailing here, you can see the detailing in those plates on the thighs. in the individual panels, and that's continued all the way down the legs as well, onwards and upwards, this chest section. Now, screen accuracy is definitely on point here. Now, somebody I did get a comment on the preview of the Hot Toys 1/6 scale version 2 endoskeleton, the 2.0 version that they're doing, that the pistons on this particular version are the wrong way around in the chest area. Now, I'm not sure which ones that individual was referring to. If you're watching this video, my friend, please drop a comment in the comment section below. I'll be fascinated to hear which ones are the wrong way around. But they look on point to me, but I would have to refer back to some stills from the movie. Maybe I'll put some stills up at this point in the top left hand corner so you can judge for yourself how accurate this old guy is. But yeah, you've got a joint at the shoulder here which will rotate forward and backwards, and also up and down as well. Once again, I would recommend not pushing that too much, because here you see for the first time those pipes that we saw the spares of, and they connect at the shoulder here and then run down underneath the chest plate itself. Now, they actually go inside that chest plate, if you can see where that gap is there. I'll try and point to it. Yeah, so it's lucky that none of these have deteriorated over time, because I think getting into that chest plate there could be a bit of a finagle, to say the least, to get them to actually sit inside. I think they may be just loose. Yeah, they're just loose in there. There's no connector inside, so not really that much of an issue. But all the pistons, once again, as with the hips and the legs, all these pistons function when the arms move, yeah, that's continued down the right hand side as well. And just the level of detailing, once again, is super impressive. I think this for a piece of its age. We'll go around the back. Let's take a look around the back. Let's swing him round and take a look at some of the detailing on the back there. You've got that spinal column there, which gradually gets smaller, running up into the chest section. The detailing on the back with the individual panels there, sculpted really, really well, and detailed really well. And there's even some paint applications in there just to pick out some of those individual panels. Coming down an arm here, let's take a look at one of these arms in detail. Now, as I mentioned, that joint at the shoulder there, forward and backward, up and down and out, and then you come down to the elbow joint here as well, with two hefty pistons on either side, obviously to replicate the bicep and the tricep. And that comes down to the joint in the arm there. Now, I'm not going to try and move this with one hand, because you have to stabilize it with the other hand when you move that arm, and you have to be super careful as well where you apply the pressure. Obviously, you don't want to be putting any pressure on these pistons in the forearm area, because that could cause all manner of issues that you don't want. But yeah, gripping it there, and this arm will move backwards and forwards, and obviously the bicep piston and the tricep piston will move accordingly as well. Down the forearm, with all the internal workings there, you can see there's at least 4 or 5 pistons going on in there, and down to the hands. Now, these hands, for a 12-year-old figure, I think really a work of genius for its age. Each hand individually articulated, as you'd probably come to expect. I think these fingers are actually plastic. I'm going to chance my arm here. I'm not sure whether they are actually metal or plastic. They don't feel as cold to the touch as other parts of the figure, so I'm going to say that these are actually plastic here, but they are all individually jointed, and there's a joint at the where it meets the hand. There's a joint halfway down, well, 2 joints halfway down, and then there's the joint right at the end there for the tip of the finger itself. And they look amazing. They really, really do. I think once again, I'm going to sound like a cracked record on this one, but for its age, that is exceptionally well engineered. Well done, Hot Toys, on this one, absolutely. So let's take a look at the light up feature on this head. Now, we're going to get in close on this head sculpt. Now, I've read some reviews, done some background on this, and some people weren't awfully impressed with the teeth. I'm not having an issue with that. I don't know whether it was the colour that some people said was wrong, or whether it was the actual, the nature of the way that the teeth are exposed, and that's almost like that grin that you can see there, whether that's was inaccurate. I'll stick a photo up at this point. You can make your own mind up on that one. I don't have an issue with it. I think those teeth look fine. I think for the time, the paint applications are great. You've got that ivory look there, slightly yellowed, and the mouth itself is actually articulated. And I'll just try doing this. There we go. And those pistons in the cheek area actually work as well. They are very, very small, so I'm going to be exceptionally careful with those. But yeah, if you're wanting to have the mouth open, that's a look you can go for. Let's get that mouth to close. Personally, not a look I'm going to be sporting in my display. Not overly keen on the mouth open look. Not quite sure whether that... it doesn't work for me, let's just put it that way. Around the side of the endoskeleton skull now, once again, detailing here is exemplary. And then you add that age to it, and it just... it really does tick all the boxes, this one. The neck area, you've got those metal tubes that we spoke about in the accessories section, the thinner of the two that run down there in case you have any issues. You have the pistons at the back of the neck there, and the head will move on that neck. The neck itself at this point here is actually solid, but it will move, that neck section will move, so I'm assuming there's a ball joint in that chest area, and the head will move from side to side, but once again, I'm struggling here with one hand. You have to take my word for it. You go around the back, you access the flap. Now I'm going to try and take this off on camera. It's not going to be easy with one hand, but let's see if this skull section will come off. And you've got to be super careful here. This is actually plastic, this section, and there we go, it's come off. Underneath the back of the skull there, you get access to the light up feature now. Obviously, because of its age, we're talking button cell batteries. There's a little compartment there that you can see. Get a screwdriver in there, small screwdriver, take that cover off, and a couple of button cell batteries in there, and then you've got a button at the top, and we'll just press that because I believe there are some button cell batteries already in there. Let's bring him back round. Now, I'm not holding out much hope for these being ridiculously bright, but no, they're doing pretty well. That's not bad at all. Yeah, considering how many years it's got on it, I think those LEDs have stood the test of time pretty well. I'm not a huge one for light up features, as regulars to the channel will know, on my 6 scale figures or quarter scale figures. However, this is one that does beg to have the eyes lit up, simply because it just gives it that menace, it gives it that life, it just adds that extra dimension there. With them off, it just doesn't quite have the same impact. Those LEDs, as I say, stood up very, very well. Still bright today. You're getting that red light coming through, even under this bright white LED light that we're using to shoot with. So yeah, overall, that head, I think they've done a cracking job. So there you have it, folks. That is the Hot Toys quarter scale endoskeleton from the original Terminator movie. I think we need to go in for a final verdict on this guy and decide just how good it actually is. Okay folks, T-800 Endoskeleton fully tooled up, lights lit up onto the stand, and house lights dimmed a little bit, so I just think he looks so much better when he's not under that glaring white LED that we use for the up close stuff. So time for a final verdict on this guy. Has it stood the test of time? Was Mr. Go Figures' Grail Hunt worthwhile? Absolutely, in my opinion, but I'm biased. I think age aside, let's just put age into one corner for a moment and talk about what we've got here. I think the base is very, very good indeed. It's not overly done, it's not too big, so the footprint is just right, and it's not too over fancy. It's very simple, but it does the job really, really well. Love those skulls. Love the metal nameplate at the front there. Yes, if it was done today, they'd probably go for a more fancy diorama, and it would perhaps be a little bit better sculpted, paint applications slightly better. But once again, we're going to introduce the 12-year factor in a moment here. The actual figure itself, the proportions look on point to me, the scaling is right, the engineering that's gone into this piece is phenomenal, and I think overall it is an excellent rendition of the endoskeleton from the original Terminator movie. As I mentioned, engineering there, the metal parts in here are doing really well. I think yes, let's talk the downsides, and most of the downsides to this piece for me come from its age and nothing else. Yes, it's chrome, so chrome will deteriorate. It's going to need a rechrome, and as I mentioned before, we will be sticking a rechromed video up once it's done. However, I still think it's held up really well. The articulation is phenomenal considering the age here. Yes, some of the joints have got a little bit loose over the years, but that's inevitable. We've got to take that into account because of its age, but it still stands up. It's not flopping anywhere, it's not falling over, so it works for me. The accessories, well, the only other accessory is that the plasma rifle itself, and I think that looks fantastic. This is the look that I'll be rocking in the display. The head sculpt, I think is very good indeed. Love the light-up eyes, and as I mentioned before, not the biggest fan of that feature, but it works brilliantly here. It just gives it that extra chef's kiss. It's the cherry on top. So overall, despite its age, if I was taking this out of the box today, I'd say this is a phenomenal piece. But then you add that 12-year factor, and this is it's stunning, absolutely stunning that 12 years ago Hot Toys were making quarter scale figures of this quality. I just wish Hot Toys would make more quarter scale figures today. I think the last one I got was the Christian Bale Batman, and bar some loose joints at the feet there, that was a phenomenal piece. I just wish they'd go all in. Hopefully, you never know, fingers crossed, we might see a 2.0 version of the quarter scale endoskeleton now that we're getting the 1/6 scale version. So, score out of 10, enough of my gushing. Difficult one to score this, folks, because once again, it's got 12 years on it. So, scoring it now is not the easiest task in the world, but I'm gonna go with a. Oh, it's difficult. This is. I've set myself a task here. If I got this straight out of the box 12 years ago, it will be an on the nose 10 instantly. However, taking into account the leaps in technology and in production of these things, I'm going to settle with a 9 on this. I still think it commands a 9 today. I think the detailing, the proportions, the screen accuracy, and the sheer weight of the engineering task that Hot Toys have undertaken here is phenomenal. And it's a personal grail that finally bagged for me, and I think it's simply superb. So there you have it, folks. That is Hot Toys 12-year-old, count those years, take on the endoskeleton from Terminator. What are your thoughts on this piece? Do you have it in the collection? What are your thoughts on Hot Toys? Should they do another version of this? What are your thoughts on their quarter scale figure line? I think the only one that they'd released prior to this was the Dark Knight Returns Batman. I'm not sure what came after this. I think it was possibly the Mandalorian from Star Wars, or no, it was Boba Fett from Star Wars. But yeah, should Hot Toys do more quarter scale figures? I think they should, but what's your take on that? In fact, what's your take on anything at all? What's your take on the movie? What's your take on absolutely anything? Drop a comment in the comment section below. I'd be fascinated to hear your opinions. And I suppose that about wraps it up for this review, folks. It's a solid 9 for this old chap. What have we got coming up on the channel? Well, in the 1/6 scale world, we've got more stuff, more figures from Hot Toys, from InArt, Susu Toys, Present Toys, Caustic Plastic, Exo6, Iconic Studios, the list goes on. We've got more previews, we've got more news videos, more tours, more showcases. A boatload of stuff on the horizon. So as I mentioned at the top there, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you're not missing any of it. And I suppose all that remains for me to say, from the original T-800 quarter scale from Hot Toys and myself, a massive thank you for watching as always. Take care of yourselves, and until next time on the channel, happy collecting, and it's over to the showcase.